Hey gang, Coach Chris here from Metabolic Athlete. Want to do a quick video on heart rate monitors. I get a lot of questions about heart rate monitors all the time. And just a little bit about my background for those of you who don't know me. I am a full-time endurance sports coach and also run a metabolic testing lab. So my main company is 4-Star Endurance, where we take you from the start line to the finish line by accomplishing 4 keys of motivation along the way. But one of the big things I do is a lot of metabolic testing, and that's where heart rate monitors come into play. A lot of you know me for recommending MyZone heart rate monitors. I'm going to talk about that. But as background, I do a lot of testing. I do a lot of different testing of both chest straps and optical heart rate monitors. If you're familiar with VO2 testing, we usually use a Polar H10 heart rate strap. And that's because they are generally known to be the most accurate compared to an EKG. And that's because the Polar H10 strap has what they call their Pro strap has 2 EKG pads on both sides instead of just one. And that's supposed to help reduce noise in terms of accuracy. And I actually use their Polar strap on different heart rate sensors. One, if you have AFib or heart conditions, a good one to know is the Frontier X. So kind of a bulkier one, but it does a full EKG while you are exercising. So they've done a pretty good job of reducing noise and being able to get good EKG data about cardiac strain and things like that. But that's about a $500 strap or $500 sensor, and the Polar H10 strap is almost I think $80 or so just for the strap itself, or maybe it's less, maybe 40, 50. But it's a expensive combination. I use it actually in combination with a core body temperature sensor that I put on some heart rate straps. So when you combine all that together, I call it my Frankenstein's monster strap, a Frontier sensor with a Polar strap and a core temperature sensor. It's almost a $900 heart rate strap, but that's probably out of the reach for most people. So I recommend a lot. Garmin is really popular with a lot of our triathletes and endurance sports athletes. They have a lot of neat things built in, like being able to track your cadence and your running dynamics, even power data for running off their sensors. So if you're in the whole Garmin ecosystem, that's all you do. Garmin's are great. Wahoo has a nice one that has 3 Bluetooth connections, so you can have this work really well with indoor cycling and racing. If you're doing smart trainer stuff like Zwift, you can connect to your bike computer, your wristwatch, your Apple TV, your computer, have it connect to multiple devices. But besides those, a lot of people don't like chest straps because optical heart rate monitors are everywhere now. Problem with optical on the wrist, if you have, for example, an Apple Watch or Samsung Watch, they've been getting better, but you'll notice on the back of the sensor, usually now in a circular pattern, they just keep adding more optical sensors to try to make them more and more accurate. And at the end of the day, measuring optical at the wrist is not going to be very accurate. The reason is, the bone of the wrist, the density of the bone can obstruct a signal. How hairy your arms are can obstruct a signal. If you have darker skin tone, if you have tattoos, if a lot of sweat gets underneath there, if a sleeve, salt, there's so many things that can obstruct the accuracy that you're never going to get anything that's actually reliable enough for fitness, for training, for performance, for racing. So that's where a chest strap is always going to be the most accurate. But if you don't like a chest strap, maybe you've had some chafing issues or what have you. If you wear a sports bra, if you're female, sometimes you don't like them for that reason. Armband, upper armband, optical heart rate monitors are your next best option. So the Polar OH1 are now called the Verity Sense. Their new model is a very good upper armband optical. So you can wear it on your upper arm closer to the heart. Less bone to obstruct the signal. These are very reliable. I use them in my metabolic lab. When I do VO2 testing, I have people wear a chest strap, and then I have them also wear an optical as a secondary heart rate monitor. And I found both the Polar to be super accurate as well as the MyZone. Now, the MyZone is unique, and so I wanted to talk about it since a lot of people don't know it that well. And full disclosure, I am a little biased. I do have some affiliate links set up with different heart rate brands. So if you do want to support our channel, our website, our programs, we always appreciate it when you buy through our links. It helps support us. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and usually it gives you a discount. But MyZone I've been set up now as a full facility, and the reason why I like the MyZone is because I seem to recommend it to the largest variety of people. And what they've created in the last year, the new one called the MZ Switch, is a much smaller sensor. So the old one used to be really bulky. This one's a lot smaller. It's as small or even smaller than the Garmin one, if you're familiar with the Garmin one, the newer, smaller ones. But it's unique because it's one of the only ones in the market that can actually be taken off of the chest strap, and on the back of it, it has an optical sensor. And so you can push the little button on the bottom here, the little logo on the bottom of the strap, and you'll see an LED light goes on the front, which is also kind of neat. You can turn that on or off, but it'll tell you what heart rate zone you're in based on color. So a coach nearby you or a fellow teammate can see what zone you're in, which is neat. You don't need to wear a watch or anything. It'll just record all the data locally. So if you don't like running with a lot of other things, it's neat that you can just wear this and have it automatically record all your data. You can see the optical sensor automatically goes on when you push that button. So you can switch it from a ECG chest strap to a PPG, an optical sensor, at will. So if you want to wear it for comfort or whatnot on your arm, it's very, very helpful. So I actually made a couple notes here of reasons why. So number one, it's really the only one in the market that does both. You get the best of both worlds, optical and EKG chest strap in one. For triathletes, that's helpful because now you can wear an upper armband optical heart rate monitor while swimming. So you can get accurate heart rate data while swimming, more accurate than the wrist and more accurate than a chest strap. So for triathletes, it's a really kind of good no-brainer option. For marathoners, it's nice because the smaller sensor means less chafing, less bouncing of that chest strap. So you don't get that chafing right in the center of your chest where the sensor is. But you can also wear it as an optical armband and get almost the same accuracy as a chest strap and less chafing because it'll be on your arm. But you'll also get more accuracy than a wrist-based heart rate monitor. So from that standpoint, it's very, very good for marathoners as well. For our Ironman, our long-distance triathletes, it's very, very good as well because you can have it record data on the device itself locally. So if you have an issue with like your Garmin watch or whatever you're using running out of battery, you can still get all your heart rate data recorded. So it can record on its own without an extra device, and then you sync the data via the MyZone phone app offline. So it can record all its heart rate data offline, which is a neat feature. If you like to go running without a watch and just want to get your heart rate data without having to be staring at it, just want to record it for your coach or whatnot, it's a neat solution for that. Another big reason, a lot of chest straps like the Garmin's, the battery works so well on these Garmin's that they last typically 2 to 3 years. But then people forget to replace the battery and they tend to die, and you don't know when the battery dies. And then you start getting bogus readings and you start losing trust in heart rate monitoring because the numbers you get are weird, and that usually happens when the battery starts wearing down. So Polar, Wahoo, Garmin, they all have that issue generally. The MyZone, via their app, you can actually see the battery level as a percentage, and so you'll know when it starts running low. And it'll last, I think, typically on one charge will last 6 months or more via a USB cable, and so it is fully sealed, so you don't have to pop it open to replace the battery. So long term, it's better for waterproofing as well. And that battery also, as an optical heart rate monitor, lasts longer than all the other options in the market. So like the Polar OH1 Verity Sense, some of those optical armbands will last 24 or 48 hours. I think I've gotten this MyZone to go 72 hours or more on one charge as optical, because optical uses a lot more battery power. So I think it might actually be the longest running optical heart rate monitor on the market as well, or at least very close to it. Number 6, motivation. Not a lot of heart rate monitors motivate you, and that's the whole MyZone ecosystem. If you're familiar with it, they have their own app, and it's all about motivating you to earn points through training in the 5 different zones. So with different fitness centers, they run challenges and different ways to motivate, but it also has an app where you can see other people and share your heart rate data and like each other's data, and it makes you accountable because your goal is to hit a certain number of points per month, and you earn more points or as you earn more points, you get these higher rankings. So it really keeps you motivated year round, which is hard with a lot of triathletes who in the off season tend to wind down their training. Sometimes they lose a lot of fitness. So it's a great way to stay motivated through the off season. The seventh reason I like it is because it is very customizable. When I do metabolic testing, I can actually go into the MyZone system and update it with a new max heart rate so that your heart rate zones match your true metabolism from a VO2 max or a fat max test. So we can test you, see your carb and fat metabolism, and then dial in your heart rate zones based on your true metabolism. So just like any heart rate monitor, you can typically do that, but with the MyZone, you can do it within the device itself, in addition to how you might do it on a Garmin watch or something else that's receiving the data. Number 8, the app. I was going to mention workouts. So I have a facility set up now. If anyone wants to join it, you're welcome to. Our facility ID is 4SUS001. So when you get the strap and you register it, you can connect it to a health club or fitness center. So if you're not affiliated to one, you're more than welcome to join ours. And within our app, we have workouts, live virtual workouts that you can join that are heart rate based. So it's a neat whole ecosystem where you kind of get the benefit of like a Apple Fitness subscription or a Peloton subscription by having these free virtual classes. At least under our facility, we have that. Not all MyZone facilities do. Number 9 I was going to mention is the accuracy. So normally a wrist-based optical heart rate monitor will be about 95% accurate. And most people think, yeah, the Apple Watch, Garmin, they're all great. They give you good enough data. But 95% accuracy when your max heart rate is 190, 200 beats means you could be off by 10 beats or more. That is half of a heart rate zone. That could be, in terms of fat metabolism, 200 to 300 calories an hour of extra energy that you're losing. And so you just don't know that. And it's just because the optical at the wrist is not very accurate. And it might be accurate a good amount of the time, but it can be very off. And that is the concern. If it can be off, it is not worth using from a performance standpoint. So from the accuracy standpoint, as an optical solution on the arm, I've done about 100 VO2 tests, I think, in the last year, just over 100. And I had people wear the MyZone in addition to wearing a Polar H10 chest strap. And I've generally found it to be within 1 to 2 beats as accurate. And that's pretty good. From my perspective, that kind of, tells me as a coach, I can trust this thing as an upper armband optical heart rate monitor. And then number 10, I put this on here at the end, for charity and challenges. So if you do want to get a MyZone, obviously we're set up as a facility. You can buy it through us. You can buy them in a lot of different places, usually through different health clubs or fitness centers. But we give a percentage back to charity at the end of every year. So every bit of revenue we collect at the end of the season, end of the year, we donate back to charity. And we also do different challenges, virtual challenges. So just from a motivational standpoint, or what I call the 4th star of motivation, inspiring yourself and inspiring others, you can have your training support a greater cause. The last thing I was going to mention too, for those athletes who I coach, if you do buy a MyZone through us or through our link, we now give our athletes a discount card where you get up to $50 off each metabolic test, up to 2 tests. So you get $100 back in credit. So basically, we're giving you a free heart rate monitor. You spend about $100 on a heart rate strap. We give you $100 in credit towards getting that heart rate monitor tailored to your true metabolism. And that ultimately will make your heart rate training even more accurate. You can still do that with a Garmin and other straps, but obviously if you're spending the money on a MyZone, we want you to have it be as accurate as possible. The only thing I'll mention in the use cases where you might not use a MyZone, if you're someone who really wants the cadence and the running dynamics data that some other heart rate straps like the Wahoo X, I think Polar has it now too, and Garmin. If you really want that data, what we have some athletes do is they wear 2 heart rate monitors. They wear a chest strap like the Garmin, and then they'll wear the MyZone as an upper armband. So they'll actually record data twice. It kind of gives you a backup option as well. So that's one use case where some people might not want the MyZone. The other difference between the old MyZone, the MC3 used to have an analog signal for old fitness equipment, like old treadmills. You no longer get that with the MyZone Switch. So if you really want that analog signal, You probably need to upgrade you replace maybe your treadmill or fitness equipment. But if you're really dependent upon that, that's where this strap might not make sense. But other than that, there's a lot of reasons why we like to recommend the MyZone. The more I thought about it, the more I kind of made this little list. I still do recommend other heart rate straps for different reasons, but usually only one or two, versus the MyZone pretty much checks all the big boxes. So that is why we recommend it. So if you're not familiar, hopefully that gave you some explanation as to why we generally recommend it. The other nice thing too, you do get a fancy little box. So if you buy it from us, just connect it to our facility ID number 4SUS001. If you join our 4-Star Club program, we actually give you a bigger, steeper discount on buying a MyZone switch. So make sure you check with me for that special code if you're one of my athletes. And you also get, this is probably one of my favorite little silly things, they give you a nice neoprene pouch where you can put your straps. You can put your spare optical armbands, charging cable, whatever you might have, so that it's easy to find and you don't lose things, which happens a lot with charging cables. So anyhow, hopefully that helped. I know it's a long video, but I wanted to list all the reasons why so you guys understand the differences between other heart rate monitors. And if you have any questions or other ones that you recommend, I would love to hear about it. I'm happy to do videos on other ones and give you more thoughts on different brands, whether it's Wahoo, Garmin, Polar. I pretty much have them all, and even some kind of really odd, unique ones as well. So hope you enjoyed the video, and like and subscribe our YouTube channel if you want us doing more stuff like this. All right, thanks. Bye.